This South African restaurant in London is owned by Etienne Pansegrau. He moved to the UK 20 years ago and now holds a British passport.
I live here, but that's kind of still home.
Despite the distance, on Saturday he'll be one of thousands of overseas voters casting their ballot in the upcoming election.
I feel it is important to vote because I've still got a big part of South Africa within me, I guess.
And preparations for the vote are said to be on track.
There's a solid logistical plan, managing the queues, ensuring that all the logistical items arrive here, they are assessed and so on, in right quantities and so on. The training of our own staff, there's been a task team that has been doing work for a while now to ensure that everybody understands the legal prescripts, and we're happy with that.
Anwin has been living in London for 10 years now. She says she wouldn't rule out going back to South Africa, but would like to see some changes.
There are two things that I would like to see that would make a difference for me. And one is safe and efficient public transport. I do love the public transport here in London. And yeah, this is really personal, but books. I find books quite expensive in South Africa.
Rowan will be voting overseas for the first time after moving to the UK just 15 months ago.
The country really needs to decide on what is the best leadership to take South Africa forward. And with the right leadership in place, putting the right policies in place, addressing issues like state capture and corruption, absolutely, I think South Africa can move forward and thrive. But on the other side of that, if those measures are not taken, it becomes very difficult for South Africa to thrive.
In the 2014 elections, the DA received 84% of the vote in London. The ANC says the London vote is a challenge, but the party still expects to make some gains this year.
We are optimistic, hoping for a positive change. I think I must stress that, we are, as South African, let me say black South Africans, we are actually outnumbered by white South Africans in here. My perception is that as South Africans, our voting is kind of like racially motivated, but we are hoping to bring in some changes into that.
Overseas voting is likely to have an even greater South African flavour in 2019 as it takes place on Freedom Day. London has the highest number of registered voters outside of South Africa, and there are lots of pockets of South Africa represented like this across the British capital. And although some South Africans living here may or may not return home one day, they still feel a connection to the place, and that's why it's important for them to come out and vote in the country's future. Natalie Powell, London.